Welcome to the Business Collective Podcast with Terry Fletcher. Weekly conversations and insights on how to go from employee to consultant in any business field where your years of expertise can be showcased. Take your career to the next level, entrepreneurship. Now here's your host, nationally recognized healthcare consultant, speaker, and author, Terry Fletcher.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Business Collective Podcast. My name is Terry Fletcher. So today I wanted to talk to you about pretty much a topic that I've kind of gotten into with a couple of episodes, but today I wanted to really look at the three best businesses, or I should say the business genres, that you can start with little or no money. And the reason I wanted to focus on that is that, we're in December 2020. Most of us, let's face it, with the year we've all had and everything going on, we can't wait to get to 2021. And I wanted to give you really a good month and a good couple of weeks to just think about what you could start, what you could get into, what would be a great venue for you if you have limited capital, and what you should focus on to start a business. And I know everyone's thinking, I just got to do something different. My business, or I should say my employer, just keeps starting and then stopping because of shutdowns, or, you're just needing that extra revenue because maybe you had to scale back. But there's a lot of things going on where everyone's trying to find something of their own. And I just wanted to give you just maybe some insight or some, just three ideas that could really help out. And when you have limited capital, it's, you need to focus on one area. And I was reading a book recently, and it's been out for quite a while, but it's called The Lean Startup, and it's by Eric Ries. And it took the world by storm. And it really gave just the average person hope that you could start a business regardless of your circumstance. Now, it's been almost 10 years, almost a decade since The Lean Startup was released, but the hope is instilled and the lessons it taught still live on today with many people who want to experience entrepreneurship. So thousands of people ask this question every day. And since I started the Business Collective podcast, I've had a flood of questions. And this is really what comes in. They say, Terry, what is the best business to start with little or almost no money? So I wanted to share what I believe should be your top three choices if you're attempting to start a business but have little capital to really back it up. You can't even go to friends or family. You basically need to take an idea and run with it. So here are the three best, and these are the best businesses to start with very little money. Now, all of these businesses, they are going to be service-based because these typically have the lowest overhead, and so they make them the perfect candidate for people with little startup capital. Each of the businesses will likely require you to challenge yourself and learn a couple of new skills, which can be difficult but not impossible. So basically, welcome to entrepreneurship if you can make this happen. And learning these new skills doesn't have to cost you money. And so I'll direct you in that area. So the first one, and I think you're going to kind of laugh at this one, is tax, accounting, and or bookkeeping services. And believe it or not, that requires little capital. And now that many other entrepreneurs are working from home and also looking to scale back and really don't have time to do their own bookkeeping, I hire that out. I actually hire somebody to do, I have a tax consultant and I have a bookkeeper. And you want somebody that is basically relatively inexpensive based on your business. And so they're looking to hire you. Now, I'm sure you've seen this one. There's a reason you've seen it 100 times, because not only does it have low overhead, as I mentioned, but it comes with higher than average profit margins because a lot of your referrals will also come from, or I should say a lot of your business will become from referrals. And so you want to be clear on how do you get that started. And let's say you don't have a degree in accounting. Okay, well, it doesn't require a degree, but it does require some kind of training, but not necessarily an advanced degree. Here's an expert tip. Work one tax season with H&R Block. I'm sure you've seen the commercials. But the one thing that H&R Block does have is that they will pay you to go through their training program, and their training programs are amazing. My brother did it, and you'll learn everything you need to know on how to get started with this business. And they pay you to do it. So you don't have to have a background. They're looking for people just off the street, people who have at least good math skills. So they'll give you an entry exam or a test on there. And if you can do that with one tax season, and a tax season, remember, isn't an entire year, it's about 6 months. And so if you can do that, get training, then you may be able to even create maybe a side hustle until while you're working there and still getting that training and learning that business, and then move on to something on your own. So just be aware that there are ways that you can do that without having to say, I need a 4-year degree in tax accounting. So that's just something, if you're really good with numbers. Now, it's not somebody who does financial planning. It's, again, bookkeeping services. So QuickBooks, learning those genres, understanding if you know tax code, that's one thing, but really keeping accounting and books for people who have small business. That's a great business to get started, and it requires very little capital. The next one would be web design, graphic design, and or search engine optimization. This is another option that can generate a large customer base and good profit margins. Let me explain why. It will require some training, and it could be on-the-job training if you've had it, but there are a large number of courses on websites like Udemy and even free tutorials on YouTube. This business makes the list simply because as an entrepreneur, these skills that will set you up for success in every project and business venture you take on. So you'll also embrace the learning experience on what you do for each of your clients. Now, you have to be somebody who's patient, somebody who can deal with a headache patient, because there are perfectionists out there. Or I should say, and I deal with this a lot of time with my web designer and the person who manages also my podcasts and graphics and is my go-to person. And it's Joe Kuzma. If you're interested, he is joekuzma.com. He actually does my website and also my podcasts, and it's my producer. But with Joe, him and I spar a lot because I have something in my head and I keep sending him different looks that I'm looking for, and he'll come back at me and going, okay, well, this look is this much money. This look is this much money. Where do you want to land? Or, well, I know what you're looking for. Maybe that's not possible with what you have as your base. Or, oh, no, that looks really good, but you're also in healthcare, so let's look at this. So it's really nice that you have to have somebody that's out there, and this could be you, that he does it for a living at his regular job, and his side job is working for himself. And it's just interesting when you look at that kind of side business where you're getting into your entrepreneurial, how it can really grow, because you are going to get word of mouth. I have referred him several different clients, and also you have to find somebody, and yourself, if you're going to do this, you want to make sure that you at least have graphic design down or some artistic skills, that you understand how the internet works with search engine optimization. I know how most of it works, but not all of it. And then web design, you really have to understand how that works. But this is a business, again, that you can have some decent profit margins because it's a service-based business, and you can do it out of your home. You don't have to have a big corporation start to be able to get into that kind of a business. Now, the number 3, and this is a really big one, this is social media management and growth services. I'm actually looking for a company right now to help me with this, and this is one of the hottest topics in business today. So many businesses, including myself, we've realized that the value of having quality social media accounts across the board. You can learn to create quality content, grow social accounts, and drive traffic with those accounts. You easily have a 6-figure business if you do it right. And an expert tip, start by focusing on learning one social media platform at a time. So once you have that system in place and you know how it works, start offering the service. If you really know all the ins and outs and you have time to study it, to work it, to look and see what's going on, YouTube also has some tutorials on that are free. This will allow you to start bringing on customers and earning while you are learning as well. This is another entrepreneurial skill that will set you up for long-term success, especially if you felt like at some point you wanted to get back into the job market and, not be an entrepreneur. So you have to understand how social media works. I did a social media versus personal versus business the other day, and I noticed that I'm starting to blur some lines myself. And it's really nice if you can just say to someone else, here's my content, you deal with it, because it's really hard to find the time to do that. And so as I'm looking for that was one of the biggest things. I'm like, boy, I wish I could find somebody reasonable, but also is on top of it. And so that's something that you might want to look into. I know a lot of healthcare entities are looking for social media people. So, somebody that can watch what kind of rating they're getting, who's driving business to and how they're finding and searching them out, who's driving business to their website, things like that. A lot goes in with that service business, and you might want to consider really getting into that field because there isn't a business that doesn't deal with social media. So these three options, they offer a combination of low overhead, customer bases, and they could be high profit margins, and one of the biggest things, valuable entrepreneurial skills. They can thrive with very little startup capital, and these service-based businesses should be at the top of every single entrepreneurial list. So when you have an idea or a passion for a business but little money, ask yourself these questions before committing. Is this a service-based business? Number 2, does this business have low overhead? Number 3, are there a lot of people who need this service? Number 4, are the profit margins acceptable? And number 5, does this venture provide a skill that will benefit me in the long term as an entrepreneur? And if you can answer any of these questions in the affirmative, so yes, then you have a viable business idea and one you should really start to consider running with, one you could possibly get off the ground with little startup capital, one that can actually take your 2021 new year into better heights, one that you don't have to worry about where you're going to find that next dollar coming from. So really consider that, really understand what those service-based businesses can do. And I say good luck to you. Hopefully that was helpful as we get started in our month of December, finish up our year end and what we need to focus on for 2021, and really look at what our New Year's resolutions can be. And if it is for you becoming that entrepreneur, taking that idea, this would be a place to start. Little capital, service-based business, and understanding what people need. So good luck with that, and I'll talk to you next time on the Business Collective podcast.
Thank you for listening to the Business Collective podcast. Drop us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Check out our website and blog at www.business-collective.com.